The Ramban in Parshas Beshalach quotes the most incredible Mechilta. Let's learn it together. It's in Perek Tesvav, Pasuk Chafov. Vayomer, and Hashem said, Im shamoya tishma lakol Hashem Elokecho. If you'll listen carefully to the voice of Hashem your God, v'hayosha ba'einav ta'aseh, and you do that which is straight in his eyes, v'hazanti lemitzvosav v'shamarta kol chukav, and you listen to his commands, and you guard his chukim, his ordinances, kol ha'machla she'samti b'mitzrayim la'asim alecha, all the sickness which I placed on Egypt, I will not place upon you. Ki ani Hashem refecha, because I am Hashem, your healer. There are three things that are spoken about, three requirements by Hashem in this pasuk. The first, to listen to the voice of Hashem your God, to listen to his words that come out of his Torah, to learn his Torah. The third thing is to listen to his commands and to guard his ordinances, make sure we keep his chukim, keeping the mitzvahs, all of them. And then in between those, Hashem says that I want you to do that which is straight in my eyes. Well, what else is left? If you're learning his Torah and you're keeping all of his mitzvahs, what on earth could be left that Hashem wants you to add that says, I want you to do that which is straight in my eyes? And it's this question which the Mechilta answers. And it says as follows, Amru v'hayoshar ba'einav taseh, you should do that which is straight in his eyes. Zeh maso matan. That's talking about business. Wow. What about business? Says the Mechilta, Melamed, it's coming to teach you. Shekol hanoise v'noisen be'emunah, anybody who does business and transacts with emunah, v'ruach habriyos noicha menoi, and people's disposition gets satisfaction. People get satisfaction from the life that you live and the way you conduct yourself in your dealings. Ma'ale alav ki ilukayim kol haTorah kuloi. The Torah considers it as if you fulfill the entire Torah. That's something remarkable. Placed in the middle of learning Torah and keeping all the mitzvahs is this requirement from Hashem of v'hayosha ba'einav taseh, do that which is straight in his eyes. And says the Mechilta, that's talking about the way you do business. And if you do it right, you should know that in Hashem's eyes, that's worth as much as keeping the entire Torah. And that's why it's placed in between those two. Because the schar is equivalent. And I don't think it's just random. Hashem says, you do business nicely, I'll give you a big bonus, you know. Get schar as if you kept the whole Torah. I think it means more than that. It means there's a tachlis to keeping the Torah. There's an end goal. And that end goal is also achieved through doing business in a way which is Yosha b'einei Hashem, which is straight in the eyes of Hashem. And therefore the reward attached to it is just as tremendous and is equivalent. Of course, the Mechilta's got it tonight. This doesn't mean that anybody who's in business gets rewarded as if he kept all the mitzvahs of the Torah. Of course not. And those conditions are crucial. Number one, that Mechilta says, you have to be noise v'noisen be'emunah. You have to do business with trust in God, belief in God. What does that mean? It needs exploration. And we will explore that through the Shurim in this series. But it certainly doesn't just mean you go to work and you say, I believe, and then it happens. It's a life. It's a way of acting. It's a way of conducting yourself which exudes emunah, exudes trust, which we'll explore together. But the yardstick of that is the second requirement in the Mechilta. V'ruach habriyos noicha menei. The way you'll be able to measure that and know that is if people get satisfaction from watching this person and the life that they live. That's the true measure of a person who does business be'emunah. I think this Mechilta is an incredible place for us to start, because it shows us that coming to work is not just about making money. It's not just about putting bread on the table, and it's certainly not mundane. If done right, this is a central part of Avodas Hashem. The Pasuk places it punkt in the middle of Limud HaTorah and Shmiras Kol HaMitzvahs, because it's that central, that important, and in fact carries with it the reward of the fulfillment of the entire Torah if you do it right. It's certainly a crucial element in Avodas Hashem, but we have to learn how to do it right, how to engage with it properly, so that it becomes as vital to us as our Seder of learning in the day and as our Tefillah B'tzibur is our time in the workplace. In contrast to this Mechilta, I'd like to share with you an Avos to Rabbi Nosson. Rabbeinu Yoina quotes this Avos to Rabbi Nosson in Pirkei Avos. In the first Perek, Mishnah 15, Shammai Oimer, Shammai says, Asay Torascha Keva, make your Torah permanent, a fixed part of your day. On that, Rabbeinu Yoina says as follows, K'mo she'amar ba'avos to Rabbi Nosson, as it says in Avos to Rabbi Nosson, Kol ha'osei Torasoi ikar u'melachtoi tefela, anyone who makes their Torah primary in their life and their work secondary, oisin oisa ikar la'olam haba, you will be made primary, fundamental in the world to come. But somebody who makes work their primary obsession in this world, and your Torah is secondary, you will be made secondary in the world to come. That's the end of the Avos to Rabbi Nosson that Rabbeinu Yoina quotes, and then he explains as follows. What does this mean? That if Torah is made ikar in your life, you will be primary in the world to come. And if work is made primary in your life, then you will have a secondary portion in the world to come. He says as follows, what the Tanoim here want to teach us is as follows. If you did nothing wrong in your life, no aveiros to your name, but you never made Torah the primary thing in your life, even if you do merit to make it to Gan Eden, Tofel Yeh Shoma, you will have a secondary place there. And that's perplexing. That means unless Torah is the primary obsession of a person in their life, the primary focus, the central thing, then no, you can be Aveira free, but you will never have a primary place in the world to come. Because in that world, your place fundamentally is determined by your relationship to Torah. How do we balance that, Avos to Rabbi Nosson, with the Mechilta that we just learned? On the one hand, the Torah seems to give such centrality to our role in business, so much importance, so much ability to connect and grow and build, have a relationship with God through it, and yet the Torah says, don't make that the ikar of your life. If that is, you should know you'll always be secondary in the next world. Torah has to be primary. So what do? The Avos to Rabbi Nosson himself, in a piece which the Rabbeinu Yoina didn't quote, actually deals with this problem. I'd like to share it with you. He says as follows. They made a mashal of this, a parable. To what can this be compared? To a troop of soldiers, which is passing through two pathways, one of fire and one of snow. If they walk close up to the pathway of fire, they'll get burnt. And if they walk close up to the pathway of snow, they'll get frostbite. So what should this troop do? Yailech bein tayim, says the Avos to Rabbi Nosson, walk between the two, v'yizaher ba'atzmoi, and be exceptionally careful with yourself. Shelo yichve ba'or, that on the one hand you go a little bit too far to the right and get burnt by the fire, v'shelo yilke b'tzina, and you go a little bit to the left and get frostbite from the snow. You have to strike, says the Avos to Rabbi Nosson, the perfect balance in your life, where you tread down this middle track, not too much in the Torah, and at the same time not too much in work. Because in either of the extremities, there's danger for a person in Avodas Hashem. And a person has to tread, yizar ba'atzmo, be very careful with themselves, that they tread carefully down a very well-balanced middle road. And on that road, you can do hayosha b'einei Hashem. You can conduct business in a way which is straight in the eyes of Hashem and is considered as if you kept the entire Torah. And at the same time, Torah can be ikki in your life. Torah can be primary and fundamental in your life. And that's the journey we're going to go on through this series. Taking Torah sources, Chumash, Tanoim, Amoraim, Rishonim, and build for ourselves a pathway, listening to the Torah of Hashem, listening to His guidelines, how He wants us to conduct ourselves in business, so that work is no longer mundane. Work can be a place for Avodas Hashem, a place of ultimate connection and relationship building with Hashem. And look forward to learning the sources together and building a pathway that we can all travel on together to reach the ultimate in that little narrow path of an incredible life where Torah is fundamental to us, and yet we're very involved in the workplace, but in a way which is Yosha ba'einei Hashem, and brings satisfaction to everybody that looks on and sees the way we live our life, balance our life, conduct ourselves in business.